Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of Starting from Scratch. Now I'm going to try and do something which I haven't done in this form yet. I'm going to start my first etude, Wohlfahrt number 1, for several reasons which I'll go into in a minute. So far I've been doing a lot of preparation exercises for my string hand, all sorts of exercises which teach my hand to be able to actually reach the notes. I've done various bow technique exercises, but it is about time that I start putting it all together and actually get the fingers moving. I feel it's quite advanced for me, Wohlfahrt number 1, so I'm not even going to try to play the whole etude through. But it's a great etude because it's in C major, so I have this usual problem of my second finger C in relationship to my fourth finger E, that being a difficulty of the distance because my hand is not stretched enough yet. So very often when I come down from fourth finger E, D, my second finger C is too sharp because it moves into the direction of the fourth finger because my hand is not widened at the base joints. So that's actually what I'm hoping to help myself with this etude, and also bringing left and right hand together. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to start just with the string hand because that's most difficult here. As far as the bow is concerned, I'm going to be very happy if I can play this etude just using the comfortable upper half of the bow at first. I'm not going to go into any bow technical things with this etude, certainly not as long as I can't play it with my string hand. So I have to teach my string hand what it has to do first. So I'm going to do that pizzicato so that I can concentrate completely on that. I can recommend that to all beginners. Take the hands apart as much and as often as you can, because it does make things a lot easier, and it's better to be able to concentrate entirely on something difficult than to have to worry about the bow as well. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to find my first finger B first. Okay, there it is. There's my second finger C. Now I'm just going to do the first line. Okay, so difficulty number 1. The fingers of my string hand are not quite sure where the strings are and where the notes are. So that's my one difficulty. The other difficulty is the fourth finger and the hand position of the fourth finger. So those are the intonation difficulties. So I'm going to work at those difficulties specifically. Fortunately, that's easy. But now, this is what's difficult. I'm going to do that a few times. Yeah, that helps. It helps to repeat it. I also noticed that my second finger is getting better at holding its position. So that's very good. Now I'm going to do the second half of the first line. That's fortunately nice and easy again. And now okay, so this is how I practice. It might become an unbelievably boring video for you guys because I have to do so much repetitive practicing, but it might be interesting for you to know how does a professional practice when they're a beginner. I'm actually practicing in the same way as I always practice, as in that I practice what's difficult and don't practice what's easy so much. So here in this first line, I have the difficulty with the fourth finger, and then I have the difficulty of the string crossing. Those are the two difficulties in the first line, so those need to be practiced. Now I'm going to start using the bow. This is going to be so difficult. I'm glad I did it pizzicato once, so that at least my string hand knows a little bit what it's supposed to do. I'm going to make it easy for myself, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play each note twice. That means that my string hand is moving very slow, and I've got a lot of time to think about which notes are coming and also to correct for sound. My idea is if I play each note twice, hopefully the second of the two notes will sound a bit better. That's my hope. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to just put the bow on the string, and now I'm going to readjust my bow hold. I still need lots of time for that. Okay, this feels a bit better. Now, where's my first finger? Okay, off we go. Each note played twice in the upper half. Okay, really difficult. My bow is losing quality because although I'm only playing in the upper half, it was sliding around a lot. Also, the coordination between the fingers of the string hand and the bow is not good at all. That's one of the reasons why I want to start working with etudes, because that will help with that. Now I'm going to practice the difficulties. That's once the difficulty with the fourth finger, and then the difficulty with the string crossings. String crossings are of course even more difficult once I start using the bow. I doubt whether I'm going to get much further than the first line today, because there's just so much to practice in it for me. Okay, found the notes. I'm always giving myself a lot of time to find the notes, because it doesn't help if I start somewhere which is wrong. Really hard. I need to try this, not doubling the notes, but also practicing the part with the fourth finger, because that needs about 10 times as much practice as everything else. Whoa! Very difficult, but I'm noticing it is helping. It's also helping with widening my hand at the bass joints. Now I'm going to do the second half of the line. Okay, lost my bow hold. Okay, that also has to be practiced separately. Yeah, unbelievable how difficult string crossings are. With string crossings, we already have something which is always nasty on the violin, no matter what level you're playing on. String crossings are difficult for both hands at the same time. And as soon as something is difficult for both hands at the same time, that's when it gets nasty in violin playing. So string crossings are nasty for the string hand for me because my fingers don't know where the strings are. When I play the normal way, it's easy because my fingers know where the notes and where the strings are because I've been doing it for so long. This hand has no idea, so that has to be practiced. And for the bow, string crossings are also always challenging because the bow doesn't know where the next string is, and each string feels so different when one plays it. So I'm just going to practice that bit with the string crossing now. Okay, you can hear I have to correct for intonation a lot. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually stop my bow in between each note so it gets a bit more clean, and also to teach my hands that the string hand has to move first and then the bow, obviously because the next note has to be there for the bow to be able to play it. So I'm going to stop the bow. I'm going to find a C first. Okay, found the C. Okay, that's getting slightly better. Stopping the bow before each note is helpful because that way my string hand learns to move first. Interesting is this is already almost feeling like normal violin practicing because it's the same. I have something which is really, really difficult that I can't do, and I practice precisely that until it gets a little bit better, and when I notice a small improvement, I'm all happy. So that's where practicing and how one practices is not that different as a beginner to a professional. Lots of beginners don't know how to practice because nobody's ever told them. So that's also one of the things which I want to do with this series. I want to show a little bit how one actually goes about practicing, and because that wouldn't be very helpful for lots of people if I show how I practice something like an Isaïe sonata, because that doesn't help them if they're struggling with Wohlfahrt number 1. So one of the reasons why I want to do this series is also to take apart practicing methods as much as I can. Now I'm going to play the first line again, but I'm also going to be practicing the difficulties, the bit with the fourth finger and the bit with the string crossings, a few extra times, because it's just so much more difficult than the rest that it just needs that much more practicing time. First I have to find my notes. First I have to find my bow hold. Okay. Now I have to find my notes. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'll do that a couple of times. Okay, moving on. Okay, practicing the difficult bits really does help. And since difficult bits are usually a lot more difficult than everything else, they have to be practiced a lot more. As you can see, I only was able to work at the first line, and I'm going to be moving through this etude very slowly because this first line is probably still the easiest line of the whole etude, so I'm really challenging myself here. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this sort of thing, and see you next week for the next episode. Bye!